Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Hello and welcome to this edition of the Black Tapes podcast breakdown. Listen along, reaction, whatever you want to call it. I'm good. So, we are still making our way through episode 6, The Devil's Door. And so we'll cut down on the jibber jabber and get into it.
I mean, he didn't say teleported, but that's essentially the gist of it.
Wow, I wonder what the district attorney has to say.
Well, they're not sure what to think. The Legal Justice Society claims the lack of blood on Simon at the time is highly suspicious, given the violent nature of the stabbing.
Yeah, it's interesting. The whole astral projection thing. At least for this universe, I really haven't seen any kind of evidence that it's, possible in this our realm. But in the Blacker Tapes universe, you never know.
There was blood everywhere. How does an 11-year-old boy stab his parents and then hide all the evidence? All the bloody clothes. It just doesn't make sense.
So, what does this mean?
The boy's a super genius.
This means you're going to Idaho.
Why Idaho?
We get the whole range in here, everything from Class A straight on down to Class D personality disorders. But we've never seen anything quite like Simon's case.
That's Fred Barnes from earlier. We're in his office at Three Rivers State Hospital, where he's part administrator, part psychiatrist.
That's got to be rough. To be a working, functioning psychiatrist and be an administrator. That, there's got to be some conflict somewhere.
With Simon Reese, you have what generally presents as a form of dissociative personality disorder with some personality decomposition.
Yeah, it still doesn't explain the blood in the clothes.
But if you go back, depending on who's treating him, he's either got schizoid personality disorder, extreme borderline personality disorder, or his most recent diagnosis, narcissistic personality disorder.
It sounds like nobody
Hey, he can run for president.
is quite sure what's going on.
Simon's had about 5 different diagnoses. For a while, we even thought he had dissociative amnesia.
Not sure what that is. I've kind of learned about it from watching movies and stuff where conveniently a major player in a story has dissociative amnesia, as something was so traumatic or whatever, they disassociate themselves from it so badly they forget it happened. But that's just my take on it. I don't know what the actual definition for it is, or if it's just something made up by media.
About his parents' murders?
Yes, until he started talking about them.
And confessing to them.
I didn't reach out to you to discuss his guilt or innocence. I was hoping you and Dr. Strand could look into these goings-on.
I'll pass everything on to Dr. Strand.
You saw the tape.
Yes.
What did you think?
I think I'd like to see more.
Yeah. I guess she would.
Come with me.
Uh-oh. This doesn't sound fun.
I wasn't sure I was going to be able to pass anything on to Strand. He wasn't returning my calls. Barnes led me down to Trent's room, the scene of his alleged attack.
Uh-oh. This is going to be interesting.
So this is Trent's room. There's the camera. And back here, is where we found the drawing.
You washed it off?
The cleaning staff did, yes.
But did they photograph it and document it and record it?
Did you ask Trent if he knows how it got there?
Says he doesn't know, but you never know with our kids.
What do you mean? Because of their conditions?
Not just that. 20 years ago, most of the patients here would be serving life in some penitentiary. Some of them can be quite manipulative. And that's why we try to keep the more seriously disturbed patients away from each other.
Yeah, not necessarily on the whole mental health issue, but on just people's personalities. You have people that are easily manipulated and people that can manipulate other people fairly easy. So, and you've got to separate those personality types, or at least in the penitentiary you do, because if you get too many of them mixed together, it ends badly for everybody, staff, inmates alike.
We find they sometimes feed off each other's energies.
Could Trent have seen this on Simon's wall and copied it?
Trent's never been to Simon's wing of the building.
Huh. There's no telling.
Those two boys have never met.
There's no way Simon could have shown Trent his sketches prior to that?
Only if it happened before they got here.
It sounds like Trent could have rigged the camera in his room to turn off at the time of the supposed attack. And he most likely drew the symbols on his wall, maybe based on something he heard from the other patients.
But to be so exact, I don't know. Or it could have been a staff member. See, they're looking at the kid doing it himself, or the other kid magically doing it. But they haven't taken in account for a staff member manipulating everything.
He didn't hear anything from Simon. At least, not before he started talking last week.
Right.
Yeah, talking.
I think you need to speak with Trent.
Okay, that should be... Yeah, that should be, young, mid-20s adult, young kid. Yeah, this should be interesting. Should be fun.
Are you from TV?
No, radio.
That's Trent Orville. He agreed to talk to me about what happened. He's tall,
Okay, this is kind of cool.
maybe 6'1", thin and extremely skittish. His leg kept bouncing under the table throughout our interview.
Can you tell me what happened that night you were attacked?
Dr. Barnes didn't tell you?
I'd like to hear your side of the story.
There's only one side. The truth.
From a philosophical standpoint, he's very correct.
Look.
Trent pulled back his collar to show me his neck. It was still bruised, and this was at least a week after the alleged attack.
That's some deep-ass bruising.
How did that happen?
You could see the finger marks where he choked me.
I didn't see any finger marks, but there was definitely bruising.
Yeah, he could, at that age, or mental development or lack thereof, he may mistake the bruising for fingerprints. Or maybe Simon did something magical or otherworldly to imprint him where only he could see him. With it, that's what's so great about this. I've not listening to this with you all's first time. It's kind of cool because I don't know, and it's kind of exhilarating.
Whose fingers?
What do you think? Simon.
What's he like, Simon?
He's...
Yeah. This is, let's accept for an axiom for a second that, yeah, he could teleport or astral project or what have you. Yeah, yeah, you're gonna be real careful on how you answer these questions.
Gary. You never met him?
No.
Lucky you.
You've met Simon before? Outside this room?
No. Just here. In my room. At night.
Yeah, he's scared.
What makes you say that he's scary?
Because he is. And he's crazy.
Crazy doesn't seem like the kind of word that would go over well around here.
You think?
Yeah, well. How about this? Simon Reese is nuts.
Well, yeah, he is.
Okay, you're telling me you've seen him physically here in your room?
Not exactly. It's not like that. It's hard to explain. But Simon's being here.
Yeah, I guess explaining an ethereal presence, translucent or what have you, is difficult when people are on equal intelligent levels. But when that's just that poor kid. It's a fictional character, but still, poor kid.
Don't look at me like that.
Like what?
That, like I'm the crazy one.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, your thinking face is disturbing him a lot.
You claim Simon attacked you in your sleep, but at the time of the attack, the security cameras clearly show Simon in his room.
It's a thing he does.
Sorry?
Simon. He has a secret.
What secret?
He's got this thing. He can leave his body. He told me about it the night he first appeared in my room.
Yeah. That would be. See, I think I'd do the same way. Same way if I had possessed that ability, I'd do the same way. Going, hey, guess what? This is what I can do, and nobody will ever believe you. Peace. Just screw with people.
He told me he was watching me.
How could he be watching you? He was in an entirely different wing of the hospital.
He was specific. He was very specific. He told me things he could only know if he was watching me. He knew everything.
Can you give me an example?
Like the things I like to draw in my books.
He knew about the things you drew in your books?
Interesting.
I hadn't shown them to anyone, and somehow Simon knew.
Maybe he snuck into your room?
That's impossible.
What do you think he wants?
One time I was reading,
It's probably just screwing with them.
and I heard someone whispering behind me in the room. I turned, and no one was there.
That's odd.
Yeah. Odd. So a few days later, another patient, a girl I've never seen before, comes up to me and whispers the same thing he whispered in my cell.
What did she say?
She said,
It's just this is just getting more and curiouser. I feel like I've said interesting like 5,000 times.
Simon likes your drawings.
I was
That's kind of spooky.
told you have some of your drawings with you.
When I was a kid, I used to scribble sometimes when I would.
I think this is a good place to leave this episode here. Enjoying it. It just got into it, and the time just kind of flew by. It's just getting really into it. Hope everyone's enjoying it. So, have a good day. Be a good human. Be good to other humans. Peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?